welcome. My name is Falco Sieverding. I'm a customer success manager with GitLab, as you see here. And 2 months ago, I recorded a video explaining the AI-powered DevSecOps platform, GitLab. And I wanted to follow up as this is a moving target and a lot of things changes. And this would be then my presentation of a state of AI, GitLab Duo, how it is called now. And we have beginning of August 2023. So all my knowledge that I have until now, I wanted to bring into this short presentation. And that directly from the start, a disclaimer, first or personal disclaimer, this is how I understand our AI features, how I work with them, and how I can bring them to you, what I have read about our wonderful activities around those AI features and what I see in the direction of the future. So nothing that you can put me on, but this is a general view, and I will only show present and transparent data so that you can look it up for yourself. I will also give you the links later on. What we will look into, just 4 points, just quickly going through those expected benefits of AI within GitLab. Then I would jump into a short demo showing you GitLab Duo, how it works. Then I would love to walk you through how you can enable yourself to test those out. And then of course at the end, a little technical view, how the features in the backend view. If you don't want to watch us, just skip that. No problem at all with this. Cool. Let's come to the expected benefits. And there, first thing that GitLab wants to do, enterprise grade and privacy first AI. So we do not do any trade-offs. We want you as an enterprise to be able to use our AI features and to have trust into GitLab as you have already with your source code in our platform, in your self-managed instance, or anywhere in the SaaS platform. You should also trust into our AI features. So that's our premise. We want your IP protect. Privacy and compliance are our priorities in this, and of course the concerns of enterprise customers are the focus. So that's why we have designed our AI features also in the workflow an enterprise would follow when they use GitLab. So our classic GitLab flow has been advanced with AI features that support all the teams that are involved in it at every stage of the value stream that they are using. So from ideation in epics, where we can summarize the epics, into issues where we break down the work, we can also summarize this, then work in the merge request that comes out of this issue on the new feature, on the bug, on everything that you do there. There you will use our generative AI code suggestion. You have then suggested reviewer on this MR, and you can of course also have the div just summarize the MR changes to see what is happening there, to go there. If you are new to the source code or you do not know everything that is going on there, you can use our feature explain this code. You can directly on new features generate tests in the MR, and if the scans in the CI are running and showing you vulnerabilities in the feature or in the MR that you have opened up, you can have this vulnerability explained to you. That we will see live in action later. Then, of course, later in the code review and everything, you can again have the MR summarized to you. You have the MR comments that can be summarized to you, which is a hard, great feature, which we will see later on bigger MRs. And then, again, the flow goes back into mainstream and goes into deploy, where we have future AI features that will help you. Just again, enterprise ready in GitLab Flow. Over all the workflow, we bring the AI features. What will you have from that? You will have people understanding epics issues faster than they are used to. So product manager, everybody that is working in issues, your developers, your security engineers are faster up to speed. A security engineer that comes into a source code to fix a vulnerability can understand the source code easier with our AI features, which is a great tool. They can write the code more efficiently, they have better code reviews with our AI features, and they can automate, of course, repetitive tasks like writing unit tests. And of course, you have faster onboarding for new team members into GitLab, into your source code, into your projects. And here we have just 3 of our categories for people that work in your enterprise. We have the developer teams, security operations, and everybody else. And for developer teams, of course, our beta feature code suggestions already there. You can try it out now. Suggested reviewers already active on SaaS, and then other features that are at the moment in experimental status. We will see later. For security and operations, also valuable AI features that we have stripped there. And then for everybody else, we have, of course, value stream forecasting, which we will not see in the demo, but we will see just in a slide. So on the left side, what we already talked about, what will come, what will be created, you see on the right side. Now we'll just pick some of my absolute favorites there. There is natural language CI configuration, meaning if you want to write your pipeline, you don't need to write a YAML file anymore. You can write it what the pipeline should do. I want to deploy this Java app into my review app and then have it manually deployed into my Kubernetes cluster in this namespace. Bam, that CI file would be there. You get suspicious activity alerting in your containers that are running in your environment. You can control this with GitLab already, but now you have then an AI that helps you see what is going on, what is going wrong. That is wonderful. And the big thing, of course, we have suggest a fix for failed tests, which is great for productivity. So if you have a pipeline failing, you can go in and either troubleshoot the CI/CD pipeline with this failure resolution feature, or see that test has failed, why has it failed, and get a recommendation how to fix it again. And with this, that is our jump into the short demo. I will meet you on the other side, and I'm looking forward to show you our features. Welcome to the demo, and now we jump into my demo project, which is just a Python, Docker file, and other things, internal web application that I have built, that I try out many things with, and it is living in our GitLab Duo group, where all my AI feature projects are living, and which have some compliance pipelines, compliance frameworks adjusted to them, and also a group security policy. We'll come later to this, why this is the case, why this is important. So let's jump into our demo here, and the first thing that I want to show you is how better to get new people into GitLab that you want to have working on your projects in GitLab. Until now they had to go through the documentation, but what you can do now is use GitLab Chat, GitLab Duo Chat, which is a large language model, of course in the background, then retrained on our documentation to help your employers getting faster to the answers that they really need. And as you see, of course, I have asked him what he is here up top, but I have now asked him, where do I find pipelines? Because I heard in GitLab pipelines are important, so let's check that. He says build pipelines and gives me also the source, which is wonderful. The source is, of course, our documentation, and goes to the correct page so that I can read more about it, which is wonderful and helpful in any case. So try this definitely out. It helped me already a lot. Let's do what he says. We go to build and we go to pipelines. And we see here there is no pipeline, so let's run a pipeline and see directly what is going on here. I will run it on the main, of course, with no input at all. Bam, what pipeline would be running? Let's check into the pipeline editor and compare to what is really running. So as you see, we have here some jobs, but the best case is always to see the visualization. We have just a build, we have a test, we have review, and we have deploy jobs that go in there. I have code quality in there. I put it into with the code quality template to just see, but I have no security scanners at all in my pipeline file because I'm a developer. I don't care about security at the moment. I just want my application to build and to be deployed. What then the security team could do, or you could do as a lead, to tell us here in every pipeline there should definitely be security scanners running. That we have done in this pipeline by just adjusting security policies. As you see, we have secret detection running here, SAST running, and we have, of course, dependency scanning running on this automatically on Python because it's a Python project. And those are really important to be run on AI-assisted projects, please. Always use SAST at least, and secret detection is nothing that bothers you. Dependency scanning, also those three I would always recommend to always run on projects where you use AI-assisted features, because the code that is being generated by Gen AI can also have some vulnerabilities. We will see later what vulnerabilities might be present there. How do I do this? That the developer doesn't have anything in the pipeline, but my scanners are running. I have here a group security policy, and that one is in a project living and adjusted to my group. When I go to secure policies, I just told the whole group, please take those policies and adjust it to all the projects that are in those groups, so nobody has to care. Just create a new project in that group, play around in that group, but my scanners, my security scanners will be running. And as we see, we can look into the thing that is coming here, that is the other scan result policy that I have in place. But here I have, with my variables that I want to have running, secret detection, SAST runner on a specific runner running, and dependency scanning also with a variable that I give and that I define. And the developer in the project doesn't need to care about this, doesn't need to do anything about this, and you can define how the pipeline runs. Just another, not an AI feature, but really, really sensible feature, and please put it on your AI projects. Good, the pipeline is running. When the pipeline has finished, we see that all the jobs were successful, which is great, and we see some additional wonderful registers up here. Code quality, of course, would give me the possibility to refactor my code. The licenses that are coming into this project, I can also manage licenses over policies in the future if I wanted to do this, but what we really want to see is securities. And we see here we have 3 vulnerabilities that have been found that have to be dealt with. Dependency scanning found nothing great, secret detection nothing great, but SAST found 3 SQL injections. That is nothing that we want to have in our project. So let's go and take care of those. We go to the vulnerability report to centrally work on those vulnerabilities. This report shows me all vulnerabilities that are present already in my main branch. So any future feature branches or anything else would not show up here, but those are the ones that I want to see. And I could, if I had more, also filter down on the ones that I want to concentrate on, vast and medium, and have them here, but those are the only ones that show up here. They show up in the status needs triage, and we can check them out. Let's open them in another tab to see what is going on. And here you see directly the explanation that we have standard into our vulnerability. But now we have a new feature, and that is the AI feature that we want to look into. Now we'll press tryout and then talk about what is happening. We have the possibility to explain this vulnerability with the help of AI here. We give a prompt out, and that prompt is this prompt that you can give here. And you can also say, I don't want to have my code in that prompt, but I leave it in to have a specific recommendation for us so that we can work with it. This is prompt that is being sent, and here is the explanation of this wonderful vulnerability. SQL injection, what can happen, how can it be used. Here that we give another file, another parameter in that is always true to get results out, to get more results out that you wanted to have, and we get a little bit how to fix the vulnerability. An example here is the execute user input, conclusion is here, and that is the recommendation of the vulnerability that is given to us. It's passed into execute method as a tuple. This prevents the attacker from injecting malicious code into the query. Good recommendation. Perhaps there are also other ones, but this is the one that is given us to this vulnerability. Now, what other things we can do to get into this vulnerability is, of course, go to the code and see where the vulnerability is living. And if I'm now a security engineer and I don't really know what this code would be doing, I have another feature that helps me. I can just mark up the code that I'm interested in, where the vulnerability is in. Here we see the SQL query that is being executed with a possibility of injection. And we go then here. What does this selected code mean? I have another AI feature, and GitLab Duo is helping me in the background to explain this code to me. So code explanation, so that I better understand what is the function of the thing that I have to take care of the vulnerability in, and how can I fix it in the end without breaking the functionality. For example, security engineer or a developer that is not well versed in the functioning of this part of the code can have the help of the AI feature here and then get the results. And here we see what the code explanation gives us. So the create connection function, values used to create a connection to the database, what it is using, first checks, of course, here the parameters that are given to it, and then how it is also successful. All this we can get into the analysis of the vulnerability so that we find out how to better remediate that vulnerability and have it then not in our code anymore, but the function is still present. Again, like in our AI features, we can say helpful, unhelpful, wrong as a feedback to give to our team to make our AI features better, because they're still in experiment or in beta. Good. Let's go into the security workflow a little bit better, or a little bit more with a workflow that we in GitLab would be using and would be recommending. So all three of those SQL injections are real vulnerabilities. The first thing that I would be doing is to set the status to confirm all valid findings. That my colleagues see that I have already checked them out and know that perhaps I'm already working on this. So next thing that I would be doing is going into the vulnerability and creating an issue out of this, because of that issue I would be working. And that gives me all the information that was in there. What I will be doing for now for this demo is to not make it confidential and assign it to me. Bam, I have now created an issue out of this and will be working out of that issue. Next thing, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit of a tickler for workflows, so I would be going here. We see the issue is assigned. I would like to have this now also assigned to our issue, and that's how we do it now. We add this existing issue. We can just do the one. No, we can do the top one, and bam, have it here, add it, sync, and also here add hop one, and have this assigned to it, which brings us back to our issue, which we can see at the moment. We can go here, have the issue here, jump in, and if we update the view, we have also all the issues here, which is wonderful. So now we have the vulnerabilities all in this issue that we can try to work on to get the remediation done. What we're doing next is, of course, working in a merge request. We create that merge request. A branch is created with the name of the issue, a little bit long in that case, but no problem. It closes the issue one. When we have done it, we assign it to us, and bam, we create that merge request. We want also the source branch later deleted by this. Good. I have everything done. A pipeline is, of course, being kicked off because I have a merge request event here, and now I would like to start coding. That I will do in our web IDE, and there we will go into our next view of the next AI feature. So here we have the web IDE. We could have a remote development background here, but we have not done this yet. So let's jump into the biggest feature that we have, biggest, most used feature, and that would be, of course, our code suggestion, our generative AI. What I will be doing is just creating a new Py file to show you the basic features. That will be calculator or calcpy, and with this, bam, I have created a new file, and I would like to have the help of code suggestion to create this file with me. And I give it a prompt, define a calculator with some parameters on it. Then I will see that code suggestions will come with some suggestions, as we see. It gives me suggestions which I just can take by pressing tab. Till now, it looks quite okay. The class that he's defining has all the things that I would be needing, and that looks nearly complete. Let's see, perhaps something else will be coming on. Sometimes we have to wait a little bit or press enter again to see other suggestions, but for now this looks like a quite good definition of what I really wanted. A class that has all the functions that I will need. So again, suggestions come in, let's say, token size that is a little bit limited, sometimes a little bit too short, so that you have to press more than once tabulator to get more of the suggestions. I have only written the prompt, the rest came through code suggestions, so not the worst work here for a Gen AI to be done. But now let's go and get the remediation on our way over in dbpy, and if we look into the vulnerability, we have 28, 73 and 111 for our wonderful things. And I would be of course doing some work that I have prepared to make it not too boring for us, and that is not there. I go in the text file and I have 3 execute queries that I don't want to see, and I will replace all of them with something that remediates the functionality, and that is SQL escape string and then the query, so that I don't have the vulnerability later inside anymore. That is just what I will be doing. As you see, my source code is changing in here without a problem. I have done the replacements. When I would be looking in here, I have of course also code suggestions that are coming in the gray work, but here you see a little bit the wrong or the weak side of code suggestion. It takes the context from before the cursor where I am in and tries to emulate or tries to guess what I will be writing next, and in this case it will be select all nodes functionality. We can see if that is something that we want, and bam, okay, that is not the worst thing to do. And then he copies exactly what is also already written here. So not that helpful. Let's delete this. So always have AI assist you. Starting with boilerplate is great, or starting with a new file is absolutely great with code suggestions, but going into a file where already a lot of context is open, suggestions might be not so helpful if you don't give it a clear prompt where it can work from. But all the changes are in, so let's commit them. Remediation as a commit would be great. Bam, we commit that to our thing, and we can go to the merge request to see what is happening now. As we might be seeing, the scans are running and kicking off. What we see now is that the merge request pipeline was already passed and successful. At the moment we still have a block in because the security, the results are not back in there. But let's look in the changes, and we see we have the remediation that I've done here, and we have the new code that has been constructed here. What I wanted to show is one of the other AI features that we have, and we can go in here and suggest test cases for this newly written Python file that is already present there. And as we see, he gives us test add, test subtract, test multiply, and test divide, which gives an assert equal to result 2, which looks fine. And I could just copy them out and bring them into my unit tests so that I have already tests for the new created class that I have now in my project. Also, a nice feature that gives me a lot of effective work, because I don't really need to care about the boilerplate tests that I have to write. Let's go back to the overview, update our merge request here to see what is really going on, and we see that the pipelines are still rocking. One of the main pipelines with all the tests, that is the merge request pipeline, still running, so we have to be a little bit patient until this is done. Now we have the pipeline completely run, all the results are back. We see again code quality is nearly the same as we have done it before. We look into security of that pipeline, and nothing has been found in this pipeline, which would be already a good thing. So I think the remediation has been done in this merge request, which is a great thing. So let's go to our merge request and merge it into our main. For that, of course, we need to remove the draft. Bam, have to delete the source merge. Approval is optional at the moment because no secret has been found. The only approval rule was about secrets here. We could add others on top, and here we have the review app that has been spun up in the background to see the changes, but at the moment no Kubernetes clusters in the background, so I will not show you that. So press merge, and with that we have another pipeline that has been kicked off in the main, because that pipeline in the merge request itself was of course run over the feature branch. Now we have the pipeline running that is on main, and that would result hopefully in the same things that we have seen before. With our pipeline finished now, we can see the results, and we are interested of course in the results of the vulnerabilities. And as we see, we don't see any vulnerabilities, which is great. Licenses stay the same, and we have of course code quality also in the same. But let's jump into the vulnerability report with this new pipeline result, and we see our 3 vulnerabilities that are still here. have now this sign, and that sign is vulnerability remediated, review before resolving. That is of course the truth that we have here. And we see also that our issue is closed because the merge request closes automatically the issue as we had created it. So as we know, they have been remediated. We go in and we set their status, and that is resolved permanently, bam, and change status from now on in our vulnerability report. We have them still present, but we don't see them. We only would see them if we bring the resolved vulnerabilities back in. Of course, this doesn't do anything about our dependency list, which is completely present or still, and also our license compliance has a full list here. Our security dashboard will not show a lot at the moment because the time the project was alive is not too long. But yeah, that has shown you a little bit our AI features that are possible to be used in SaaS, and with the experiments activated, as you have seen now, all of them. And yeah, the best possibility to get a view out of them is of course our documentation. And here you have all the information about our experimental features. They are listed here if you want to look into them. Show me deployment frequent forecast we have not seen here in my demo, as it needs to have a, let's say, more lively project, but this is something that we can jump into and see for a short while. Here that is value streams forecasting, which includes also deployment frequency forecasting. So if you use value stream forecasting, we have now the possibility that you get a forecast how it will be going from the results that have been given before. And with that, our demo is finished, and we will go back to our slides. So let's shortly talk about how you can now try out the AI features that we have in GitLab. And there are of course separate sets of AI features which we'll talk about later, that is self-managed and SaaS. Let's concentrate first on code suggestions and SaaS. And with this I tell you that code suggestions is still in beta. Please give us definitely feedback on code suggestions. Beta feedback, very, very important. Many people have worked here with each other to give feedback on those features to make them better. So everything that you have can come in there, and please also be aware beta feature outtakes might be there, and the code quality might be also not so brilliant as you can expect it when it comes to general availability, which is a goal for this. So how to do this? If you have a SaaS account, or if you do a SaaS trial, which would be my recommendation, just with an interested group of your developers or people in your enterprise, do a SaaS trial and create their group. In that top level group, you must activate code suggestions by just clicking, and I would also say please activate the third-party AI services. With this, code suggestions runs over the Google model, which we will see just in a moment, and gives you better suggestions than with our native model that is a little bit more limited. If you want to use the experimental features, as we have seen in my demo, you have to also activate the experiment features in the top level group on your SaaS account to make that possible for all the groups and projects in the top level group to use it. Every user themselves can then decide if they want to use code suggestion and enable that on their user progress. So if we jump in here, you see that is my user. I have enabled code suggestion without a problem, also the code search, which is nice. And in my top level group, I have activated all three of them. As you have seen in our demo, I was able to use all of them. And that would be my recommendation. Get some demo projects in there, some security demo projects, some benchmarks to see also our scanners, which would be lovely. You have SaaS runners there, so nothing that you have to fear from. And then you can try out the AI features with our security features with a full workflow, just to make up your own opinion. That is the most important stuff there. What you can also of course do is just take an open source project and fork it into that group and work a little bit on there to see if it gives you the experimental features and the rest of the AI features, if that provides you enough efficiency gains that you would be looking into using that also for your productive instance. That would be my suggestion. So shortly talk about what is being sent, and I'm sorry I'm in the way there, so let me go over, and there you see, as in my last video, we have looked a little bit into the code, and again the prompts that is being sent is prompt version, project path, project ID, and current file name. Those are fixed values when you work in that file that are being sent. They are not being stored, but they are there to identify, especially the current file name, what you will be working in, which languages, certain things. Then what is above the cursor and what is below the cursor. And there we see also the content, what is maximum and what is maximum in the length for below the cursor. When below the cursor is empty, of course nothing will be set. In the case that you have the third party activated, this will be then sent to Google Cloud's Vertex AI Code API by us, and the result will be given back to you. And there we will fill the prefix and the suffix field to have Cody then give you a code suggestion. And of course we set the temperature and the language from our side, so you don't have to work with this. But this is how we use the API from the Google Vertex to give you a better code suggestion. But this, of course, we have some links here that I will also give you later in the PDF of those slides that you have to look into if you want to see the details of this. We have the data governance of Google. Google definitely has stated, we can shortly look into this, apologies, that they do not train their models on non-permissive code. So this is completely legal to be trained on. There is code behind the Google model that has not IP infringing content or anything in that direction, and they do want you also to be sure that the privacy commitment of their AI framework is completely in scope with you as an enterprise. What else? The GitLab testing agreement, you also have to agree to see our experimental features, so please have a read about this. And again, this is a beta feature, but we are not using your code, neither Google is using your code to train any model. The suggestion is given to you and is yours, and that has been generated out of a model that has been trained on source code that has the right licenses to be used for such a case. Let's jump into the GitLab Plus and GitLab Chat, so the future. You have seen how we can use it on the SaaS platform. Now code suggestion and the other AI features should also come to SM, self-managed and dedicated, our single instance that we provide to you as a service, as a SaaS service. We have one goal, and that is we want to provide you the same capabilities in self-managed as we do on SaaS. SaaS is first in development, but the other features will always come to the self-managed customers also. And that is how we do it. So a short view on our AI Gateway, which I named, and which also will be named in the future GitLab Plus or AI interface, for you to be seen as a self-managed instance. So GitLab Plus services will, for the AI features, run over the AI Gateway, where we have the possibility to give certain models certain prompts for different functionality. Our GitLab native models are behind there, the Vertex model of Google, Anthropic models, and at that moment we have also still the ChatGPT API that we use for some of our models. This will be routed by us into the model depending on which functionality you are using in the end. And those functionalities you can of course use with VS Code extension, any other extension on a gitlab.com namespace. Bam, it goes then to the AI Gateway. The same is for any other VS Code, JetBrains, Eclipse, or Vim, if you want to use it, that is connected to a project on your self-managed instance. So the self-managed instance gives you a PAT, or gives the developer a PAT, a personal access token, where the extension or the IDE is authenticating against the self-managed instance, and then we have authentication of the self-managed instance to our AI Gateway, where this will be forwarded. The prompt will be generated, given back, and then forwarded again to the endpoint, which can be the web IDE, which can be the SaaS self-managed instance itself, or an extension in an IDE. Good. And that of course the same for dedicated, and also possible for FedRAMP GitLab instances, a special kind of breed for this. So that is our goal, to have the AI gateway give the AI services to all our customers in the way that they can. What is the future of GitLab Chat that you have seen just being used on our documentation? So there we come a little bit into the more technical part. The vision for this is that GitLab Chat will be your main assistant in your GitLab work, and regardless of what you do, when you do it, we will forward you to the right model that gives you the right and best answer and best prompts out of, no, best answer on your prompts out of the models that we have and that we can switch between. So it should always be possible that you work anywhere where you want to work, in the GitLab user interface, in the web IDE, in Visual Studio with our extension, and then you connect either to your self-managed instance or to GitLab SaaS or GitLab Dedicated. There we have the switch agent running and can then see what you will be doing. So it is of course a large language model in the background, but then there will be fine-tuning on top of that. There will be retraining. Developers have another set of availabilities and another set of models in use than, for example, a product manager or anybody else. So GitLab Duo Chat directly in GitLab or directly in your IDE should be possible for you to use in all your tasks with GitLab. If it's explain this code, if it's explain this vulnerability, if it's anything that you want to do in GitLab, create a pipeline, troubleshoot a pipeline, you can do this through one chat interface that will be present in GitLab itself, in the web UI, in the IDE that you're using with the extension, or wherever you want to use it. So that is our next step in AI. Code suggestions, of course, in code creation, but the rest we will do with a chat interface like you have been used to with some other offerings perhaps. And that's it. I wanted to talk a little bit about GitLab AI and how the state is now, how I see it now. I thank you for the time that you have spent with me. If you have any questions, you can of course connect with me or jump into our documentation. As I said, the best place to be for our AI features is always here, our documentation, where you also see on which model in the background our AI feature of that kind is based. So you could definitely see OpenAI GPT is always the background of Thumb-Rage merge request changes or GitLab Duo Chat, and that is, for example, the thing. If you wanted to see the features in action later on, also you can also do this directly in issues that you are on. So bigger issues give you always a possibility to give the view summary page here, and bam, you can see this. Yeah, but if we wanted to see which vertex model is or Google model is used, here we have explain, select the code in the web UI, AI feature is experimental and powered by Google Cody. Then you have the information directly here. Everything is given here. Code suggestion beta feedback, where I pressed now our feature. You can give your feedback directly as soon as it goes into general availability. We will have issues where you can give your feedback in a different kind, but the beta feedback is very, very welcome. So please use this, give us feedback, that would be great. Here you see the iteration 2 on the GitLab Plus for self-managed. So we will have it more easy for your self-managed instances to be connected to GitLab SaaS, or not even at all be authenticated directly to GitLab SaaS if you activated it, and that will come in 16.3. What we have is here the GitLab chatbot. I talked about it a little bit. If you wanted to read about this, this is with our PM for the AI framework. They are working on this. So if you wanted to see all of our features that have the AI framework behind it, you can also go into our issues and just filter by this wonderful label. And last piece is of course authentication iteration 2, also for GitLab Plus, where we take away that you have the JWT token in the web IDE or in your IDE. It's already present. That will be only added when the instance talks to GitLab SaaS itself. Good, and that's it from my side about GitLab AI. And yeah, I hope you have a great summer, and when the next big changes come, I will hopefully come back with another video. Thank you so much.